Hey there guys, it's Metro, and today we are back. And this time, instead of reviewing somebody else's footage, we're reviewing my own. And this might be the last time we're doing this. That series slowed down, focusing a lot more on Shadowlands. But I think there's a lot to learn from taking a look at your own mistakes and your own, your own footage in general. It's like, when a basketball team reviews the tape, as they say. So we're going to take a look at that. And this is not just me reviewing my own footage. This is a very special key. This is my first 21, and it is not in time. That's why it's so long. But yeah, it is a 21, and it's with a full like a pre-made or whatever. These are all people that I know. Maybe you guys might know them too. We got Rat Pala, we got Double Helix Warrior and Pad Rogue, and then we also have Resto. We got Splash Shaman. Sorry. Tank Shaman, Guardian Shaman. So yeah, let's do it. We're going to get to it. This is a 21 Sethraliss, and you're immediately going to notice some odd things. So we're trying out, those trinkets aren't abnormal for me. I use those trinkets quite a lot. But yeah, the haste trinkets, we're using Shexul Vase instead. So when we did the 20 Junkyard, I used this, and it worked really well for me. So I figured I'll stick with it. I really like the extra armor, and the damage is not impossibly bad. Like it's good. It's not bad at all. It's definitely worse than Twilight Devastation. Like it's not even close. It is worse than Twilight Devastation, if only because Twilight Devastation scales off your health. And even if you're not doing the build that I like to do, you're still gonna have a lot of health. But this armor thing, you really can't be wearing low item level gear if you're gonna do this. It's just pointless. Like the whole point of doing this build is to be more defensive. And also, like, it scales off your armor, right? So if I'm wearing, like, a really poor item level piece in one of the slots to help with damage, then it's just not really worth doing. So this run, I felt like I didn't care about damage. Even though it was skittish, going to cause some problems, I felt like I wanted to make sure I could survive at all costs. So we do that. This is the rest of my corruption. Nothing special here. I mean, this is what I normally run. But yeah, I had some more wiggle room, so I put extra pieces on. And I think it worked out pretty well. So yeah, I mean, in terms of my character, I felt really good. Using the same essences, nothing special. But I did want to show that off, and everything else. I think everything else is pretty normal. So I think we can skip ahead here. There's a little bit of time. Oh yeah, in terms of talents, I just switched to Red Thirst. That's the only change. Nothing else different there. Literally the same setup as always. So let's go ahead and skip ahead. We'll get right to the action. This is again a very difficult key. It's my first really, I don't know. It's hard, right? It's the first 21 I've ever done, and even though it was with like a full pre-made, it was still very interesting, very challenging. And we're gonna go through every single pack like I would do watching somebody else, and we'll talk about everything that I notice and ways that I could help myself improve. So out of the gate here, you're going to see immediately, I'm looking at that Dust Devil because we actually just did 19 Sethraliss a little bit before this, and it got a couple casts off. Well, it had the potential to get a couple casts off. So I really want to get that healing surge kicked as much as possible. I don't want others to worry about it because obviously like everybody else is going to be going really big DPS mode. First pack, right? It's always the pack that you want to burst on the hardest. So yeah, if you can make sure you interrupt, do that. There's also the power shot. Now what you don't hear is the Discord, which is actually sizable, and they're doing some shot calling. Pretty helpful. Yeah, it's great. It's a great thing to do. But he's basically telling people what to interrupt and what not to interrupt. So it's really helpful. But here, this is probably where things get interesting to me. This is what I was really worried about, like out of the gate. I was like, I'm probably going to die to this blob, right? So what we decided to do here is, and we actually decided to do it way too late. What we should have really done, and I totally agree with this. This was on bolstering week, right? So it's been a while now, but this was recorded on bolstering week, and these mobs bolster each other. So what we decided to do was just vacate, just run, just flee, right? And it didn't really go to plan. Like we didn't plan it until it started. So we should have done it more. But yeah, basically if we could get them all on top of each other and just kind of AoE them down evenly, I think that would have been better. But as you see, 2 were on Sarah there, and oh my god, was it doing a lot of damage. So but yeah, ideally I think what we would do is have them all down here, like right down here. This is what I think is the best play at this point, and not killing them in a staggered fashion, because they're going to do a lot of damage on basically whoever they're channeling on. It looks like we're doing a pretty good job of kicking them, but yeah, if we just all got around this corner, they would all kind of snap. They don't actually snap, but they just spawn. They have to be in range of a target. If they're not in range of a target, they'll become in range of a target. So you see how it spawns out there. That's not what we wanted. Either way, it's handled fine. This was actually really surprisingly easy, and I don't really feel like either me or the healing input or anything like that is over the top. Like I was kind of surprised, and I have this. I think it might honestly be the trinket or the not the trinket, of course, but the weapon and the more haste. Like the more haste you have as Blood Decay, the better everything gets. And obviously, the armor situation doesn't hurt either. So I'm really satisfied with this build. And if I just, the only thing is, it's just stupid to do as little damage as I'm going to do without Twilight Devastation. So I just need to get better Twilight Devastation. Ideally, rank 3 is a little out of the way still, because I like the haste one. So I wouldn't mind rank 2 Twilight Devastation, Shexel Vaz, and also maybe a haste corruption too, or whatever we could still afford at that point. I haven't done the numbers in quite a while, but I imagine by this point probably it'll be pretty good. So maybe someday I'll finally get that. But yeah, the big thing here is Red Thirst really helps a lot with this this kind of damage input, and usually like Red Thirst looks to be really good for Twilight Devastation too. So obviously that would help a lot. I think we might actually do that like permanently, but. Okay, so this is where the proper fun starts, all right? Now, this is fortified, okay? No boss affixes whatsoever. And you're going to see some interesting things happen here. I'm actually really surprised by this. So we're going to take a hard look at this, okay? So it's 100% nature damage. So there's a Cyclone Strike. Okay, now, Salandria walks right back into this. So this is interesting. Let's go back a little bit here. So at this point, he is like... So we Bloodlust, okay? And one of our 3 damage dealers... Where is he gone? Is he still fighting? Yeah, one of our 3 damage dealers goes running off. He's like, shouldn't we interrupt this? And I'm like, I don't know. Should we? Does it matter? I'm not sure it matters. I don't know. I've never interrupted before. I'm not sure it matters. And so he goes off looking to interrupt it. And then he comes back at the wrong time and runs right into that. Bop's kind of probably out of instinct. I'm not really sure what the bop was for, because everything on that situation there is magic. So now he's really low. He doesn't die, though, because he's not going to get this mechanic. Now conduction goes out on Sizewell. And look at this. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so he's at 75% health. That's because he rallied, though. So let's go back to where he was when it happened. So go through this really short here. So he's got the mechanic. So he's 100% health, okay? Now, I don't know if... He's getting targeted by something else, probably. Let's see. So 97%, 92%. There's the rally. We took a damage from whatever. Now he's at 73%, right? I can't actually see his health pool. I don't know what it is for sure. But he's at 73% health. 2, 1, 76% health, dead. Unfortified. That's a 21, by the way. So I don't even know what it would. How the hell do you do this fight on these people who are doing like 24s tyrannical? How is that possible? How do you move that? He used the freaking rallying cry, and I mean he doesn't have an actual damage reduction, I guess. So that's the problem. But like, what the hell are you supposed to do there, other than be 100% health and still barely live? So now here's the magic damage from that. Salandria survives no problem, but everybody takes a little damage. But yeah, I couldn't believe that. Honestly, I really couldn't believe that. It's kind of crazy. And I don't think that's the last problem we have here, but yeah, I was like, that was like, oh wow, what did I sign up for? That's what I thought. I'm like, holy shit, what did I sign up for? So this was actually my key. I had 19. So last Tuesday's stream was actually like really successful. We got 19 Sethraliss. We did a 20. We upgraded 19 Waycrest, got 20 Motherload, downgraded that, then got 19 Sethraliss. So that was last Tuesday, like the from when I'm recording this, last Tuesday. And then I just sat on it all week because the alpha, like I didn't even really log on much, right? Outside of getting daily stuff done. And then on Monday night, I was like, hey, you know what? This is a really freaking easy key. So we did 19 Sethraliss, crushed it. We had like 6 minutes left to go on the last boss. We had plenty of time to kill it. Very, very good. And actually, it wasn't really as close as I thought it was going to be. So there's another death. Let's resume the conversation on the boss for now. Okay, so let's try to understand what happened here, because I don't really see it. So Salandria gets the mechanic, and luckily he bubbles, because he was dying for sure there. But then... Oh, yeah, so, okay, so that happened... Oh, I see what happens. Whoopsie. Anyway, so she gets hit by the lightning thing, which obviously you can't avoid. Takes her to 38%. And you see this little... I see this... You see that tornado there? That's death. That's pain, motherfucker. Move, like they used to say. So that is a death. And luckily we got an Ankh, because otherwise we're wiping there, right? Without Ankh, we have no battle res for that. So good save. You don't even seamless. You don't even realize she died. But anyway, so yeah, we upgraded Sethraliss 19, like crush it. The only problem we actually had was the third boss. The third boss caused a weird little problem to happen, where I think Sarah's pacing was a little off, because the way she normally does, I'm not really sure, but they wanted to do like a strategy where we went right to the hardest pack in that room and then skipped all the easier packs, so she could use Link there, and then it would be back up, I guess, for the start of Galvats. I'm not really sure what, maybe she'll comment, but I'm not really sure what the play was. But either way, I guess the pacing was wrong for her. She didn't enjoy it, or she wasn't able to keep up or something. So I actually died on the fight. And literally the only reason we killed the dungeon was because the DPS were able to scramble without me alive. But yeah, as you see, that magic damage is insane. So I can't even imagine what this would have looked like on Tyrannical. I really can't. You'd have to play perfectly, right? But yeah, so we had a lot of trouble on Galvats. We almost lost the key to it. But so even after I died and we almost wiped there, we still upgraded that. So I think I thought coming into this, we're gonna upgrade this. Like this is a good key this week, right? Now another cool little strategy that we do here, which is something I would like to do more, but it's tough without a rogue. Somebody has to do it or die, and it's not really worth it. So Tokes, the rogue, doesn't really realize what we're trying to ask him to do. What we wanted him to do, we're looking to skip this mob here. And partially, I'm going to show you why, but skipping that mob, it's just like kind of dead count. You don't need it if you do the route we do, one way or the other, but you really probably want to skip it no matter what, because it's just like a single mob in the middle of an area where you don't want to be fighting single mobs. So instead, what he's supposed to do, he's supposed to stealth by it. You see him coming up here. Now he's going to activate the obelisk, and then it's going to activate Forest. So this is a cool little tip. A great idea, honestly. I'm sure a lot of people have already been doing this, but I never thought about it. You can only really do it with the rogue, and it'd probably be tough to do in pugs. Here's a great example of where, being in Discord and communicating with people that you normally communicate with in the video game makes a big difference. Certainly a pug, it would be hard to get him to want to do that. You know what I mean? If he wants to do that, that would be great. But if he's gonna have to be told to do it, then it's probably not gonna work out. So anyway, here I'm playing very safe because I know I'm gonna get destroyed by his auto attacks after the hit, but I know I also need to stay in range to get threat because it is skittish weak. And yeah, relatively high burst. I mean, we basically have like 3 burst classes, right? So it's not that bad though on a 21. I mean, it hits relatively hard. I think maybe later, maybe not. I could have swore maybe it was the 20. There was a couple times when I was doing keys this weekend where I was like actually getting hit for like about 80% of my health, and then Death Strike would heal for like 78% of my health. Like it was boop 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 boop, and then luckily I'd survived. But yeah, that's actually fine. Yeah, I don't know. That's surprising. That went a lot better than I expected it to go. So now here, what we did on the 19 was I wanted to get this, and then I wanted to get these 2 coming up. And I felt like, the health pool differential wasn't a big problem with bolstering. But then I thought, like, you know what? We already have, like, this is a lot hard. That first boss scared me. Honestly, it legitimately scared me. I was like, I'm scared of this fight now. I'm scared of this dungeon now. So I figured let's not risk it. Take it slow. Do this dungeon a little bit suboptimally. The reason I'm really cautious about this room is because I had done this dungeon a couple times bolstering already. And normally what I would do is I would take that obelisk over past this mob too. I'd try to skip this mob too, but not skip the first one, right? So we kind of just traded. They both give the same count. I'm pretty sure they're the exact same mob. So yeah, we're going to skip that one and pull this one instead. So that's changed the route a little bit, but it's definitely the better play. Because on bolstering, I'd come out in this room and it'd be really complicated with these patrols to be dealing with bolstering. You really can't control the patrols at all unless you have maybe a couple rogues or something, maybe ring a piece. But yeah, so we're just going to take it a little bit more conservative here. There was talk like, oh, we should try to keep 5 targets. And I'm glad we didn't do that because Salandrius seemed to lay on hands himself there just from that. So a lot of damage taken if you get hit by the blasts and some of the other mechanics. But otherwise, this trash... Really, the thing about this dungeon is this trash is the easiest trash in the game. Like, if you ask me, like, there's very little difficulty to this trash. It's just interrupt stuff. And that's why I always feel like Fortified Sethraliss is a really good key. Like, I feel like that universally. I mean, now I'm going to get 2 Croclus Riders or whatever, Crowless Riders. This is what I wanted to happen. Not like from now on, we're in good place. I just need to be careful with the breaths. And I don't do a great job with the cleave. When the mobs get off the Crolus, however you say it, they're going to cleave, right? And what happened when we did the 19, see the cleave there? Actually, I guess they do it while they're on it too, but either way, they do this cleave. It's like just a frontal cleave, right? When I was doing the 19, I actually went, like, the pack was at like 2% health. So I ran to go to the next pack, and it cleaved both the melee. We had two rogues actually at the time. And there it happened again. So let's go ahead and look at that. It cleaved both the melee, and it actually killed Togs. That was on the 19. Didn't happen here, even though I do hit them with it. They survive it. So let's see that. See the mistake I make. You can learn. So the breath, I still have to dodge the breath. That's the problem. That's ultimately the problem. I'm dodging the breath. I'm a little bit too aggressive on the breath dodge. I should try to dodge it to this side, I guess, more so, but also could have just been standing right here instead of turning them directly at the group. And then I'm sure you're going to see the cleave. It's actually the second mob, the mob that I dodged. Wow, I thought it would be the yellow mob. But yeah, so it hit both of them for about 80% of their health, which is pretty nuts. But yeah, an ambient ambient like trash mechanic like that. And it almost happened again. And I think that's why we got the Spirit Link out. But yeah, so keep that in mind. The higher you go, the worse this guy. And something that you should learn for Loki's too, right? Like, as a tank, you should not be forcing your healer to heal more than they have to, obviously, especially not by hitting the damage dealers with the mechanics. Not ideal. Not your role as a tank. Let's put it that way. But yeah, that's something I never thought about. This is something I never would have thought about in like an 18. Like, it just doesn't matter there. You know what I mean? If somebody gets hit by it, it's like, you're to blame, not me. But here it's like, oh shit, that's really not acceptable. You know what I mean? Like, if it was anything harder, or those mobs were bolstered or raging even, oh god, I would have probably deleted their accounts. So the big problem that I guess people are having in this room, especially because it was brought up a bunch before we started this, was you're going to see these poisons go out in this room, the tenders apparently. Yeah, venomous spit, you see it there. Very, apparently very dangerous poison. So we did it on the 19, I think it was Sizewell, who was like, oh wow, we don't have a poison dispel. This is going to be really tough. And I'm like, not going to be tough for me, but I didn't realize what he was talking about. He's talking about him, right? And them, like, it puts a very bad poison on. So we got Salandre in instead of OMC, who's also a great player, but 2 rogues. So we got Paladin instead to dispel poisons, and it works out. We get some dispels, but I never even noticed that. Like, to me, that doesn't even matter. Like, I'm like, okay, more magic damage. Yeah, that's my big concern right now. But yeah, so we grab all 4 here. Last time we did it, I think it was like 5. I don't know. Like, I just wanted to keep the mob count relatively high. Like the pacing relatively high. Because at this point, I'm thinking, oh, we're still upgrading this 100%. We only have 2 deaths. Things are going pretty well. We're doing a relatively decent job of interrupting. Again, thanks to Sizewell's good calls. And overall, just having 5 interrupts helps a lot, right? But, the damage is pouring on Vamp Blood. So that's the thing. Like, the short Vamp Bloods, you're basically going to have like about 45-second CD on Vamp Blood with Red Thirst up. And if you run a bunch of Haste Corruption, it gets even better, right? So that's really good. But yeah, so the bolstering gets a little bit problematic. We survived, no problem. Sarah's really low on mana. I still have that poison dot on me. Gets dispelled by Salandra, so that's really good. All right, we got patented sugar-crusted fish feast. Now it's the time for more interesting things to happen. Ironically, the hardest time we have in here is bosses, so you're going to laugh at this. So we're maybe, I think, and maybe Tokes would agree, it seemed like he did, we're going to overcomplicate this encounter. And maybe it's needed. I don't know. I'm not going to say it's not, because it probably is. It's something that's not needed. You know what I'm saying? What we're going to do here is something that's fine to do, I'm sure. It's a good way to optimize, but it ultimately kills the key. I mean, we were probably not going to upgrade this anyway, but it ultimately kills the key. Now, something that I learned on this fight that I wouldn't have normally as expected is this burrow mechanic is ridiculous. In fact, we spend, I'm going to tell you now, 3 attempts on this boss. And every single time the burrow hits a player, it's like, wow, we might wipe her. Like, legitimately, I'm like, oh, that person's going to die, and we're probably going to have to wipe. We're just going to reset it. Now, those ads are really the problem here. I didn't expect how much the health pool of those ads is very prohibitive to this fight's success. Now, another thing I didn't actually know until we did on this level is that in this second phase, he does not breathe this poison shit. He doesn't actually do that here. I didn't know that. We always burn through the first 2 phases so fast that I didn't actually know that. But so it's only the first phase and the third phase they have to deal with the poison. The third phase, he does both things, which I guess is obvious. But anyway, here we go. So it's coming up. So the next transition is going to happen. Okay, so the ads are out. Now these ads are a pain in the ass. I have to say, it's probably my least favorite mechanic in the game. This dust cloud mechanic. So watch what happens here. So they just immediately look at it. Come on, get the fuck out of here with this nonsense. 4 mobs in the dust cloud the second they come out. So literally, they're all at 100% health. 98 is the lowest. 99.7 is the highest. Just all in dust clouds. So this is not good, right? And somebody's in Sethraliss stuck in the dust cloud with the knot of snakes. Somebody fears them. I don't know who that must have been. Must have been the warrior there. The fear takes that. So this is just a farce, right? Like we're this is a joke. This is the complete opposite of how you want to deal with this pack. Okay. These mobs are literally not even half dead yet. We've been fighting them for like 30 seconds, and there's mobs in the 80% threshold still. So going really poorly, let's put it that way. But we had this strategy here. Look at this. So we had this strategy. You're going to see something funny here. We had this strategy here where Seismical was going to run over there and aggro that mob. And I didn't know you can do this. First of all, I didn't know this was possible, but apparently it is. You can aggro that mob through the wall. You see that mob coming? The agitated Nimbus through the wall. So he's like, grip it in so we could AoE it. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm going to do that. But you see maybe down here, see this part maybe doesn't work out. When the mobs are still alive putting dust clouds out. Yeah, maybe the grip and the strategy doesn't really work. So we got somebody in a knot of snakes in a dust cloud. We still have snakes up. Like literally, they're not dying because they're going to keep putting dust clouds out. People keep getting stuck in this shit. And we now have to interrupt this too. So like the play, now it's also bolstering. Let's be serious here, right? So you cannot kill this mob. If this mob dies, it bolsters the boss. So this is like ultra bad. And now we're in phase 3 with all the mechanics, the snakes again. Didn't work out. So this ultimately is what kills the key, right? You can't have a full wipe and expect a time at 21, I'm sure. But it's not even like... This fight is mesmerizing in terms of its... this is probably the fight in here that I am the most surprised by. But as you see, I mean, this was just... Basically, the goal was to burn the boss so fast that... the ad would just get free cleave. Like, it was not going to complicate the fight at all. Okay, so now we'll take a look at the second pull. Because this is equally interesting. But not really worth seeing the full fight of. So again, the poison, just stack up. If you want to stack up for that, that's really good. Now here we go. Oh no, this isn't even what I thought it was. Yeah. So Sethraliss just gets threat, like full threat. Just gets auto attacked by all 4 snakes. Now that's the hell. Now that's skittish doing that, obviously. But that's also Twilight Devastation doing that, right? Like if Twilight Devastation proc there, we don't wipe there, but we wipe there. You know what I mean? That's a reset. We don't wipe, but it's a reset because somebody got threat on all 4 targets. And I don't know what else to say. What do you guys think about that? Obviously, it's skittish. So it's like, okay, well, I mean, you could blame skittish. You could blame Twilight. You can blame a couple things. Could blame him, right? I don't know. I'm not really sure what to say about that. But that's like, if that happened on like an 18, it's not killing him. No way. He's gonna survive 4 auto attacks. He basically gets killed so fast because he got 3 stacks of the poison too, right? He got killed so fast there was like no way to save him. It was it. That was it. That was the end of the run or end of the key right there, one way or the other. Our last chance to salvage it gets stashed because of auto attacks. So interesting. Now we're gonna succeed at the fight, and I don't think is he gonna even pull the out here. There's nothing really. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there is something. I knew that somebody died to this. So let's see it happen. The burrow. Yeah, look at that. Freaking Joe Burrows, dude. What's he doing, man? Shouldn't you be conditioning? Dude gets freaking... Well, he doesn't quite get one shot. Tokes at 85. 80 dead. Thanks for stopping by, Tokes. You lived as you died, man. At 85% health. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We killed the fight. I mean, nothing else to look at here. He doesn't pull the ad again. At this point, it's like, okay, well, that's it. We'll just take it slow from now on. But yeah, so like the whole idea was to go and grab the ad, and basically just to get free cleave on it, I think, is the play. I think that's what he said, word for word. It's just free cleave. Because, like, the ad is not dangerous, but especially with bolstering, we really can't pull 3. Like, I mean, I guess you can. You definitely can, right? But it's like, to do it is just a little, maybe not the best idea. So pulling it with the boss is probably the best play. It's an interesting idea. I don't know if I can do it myself, though. I don't think I can. And I imagine I can't, and I imagine I can't because I would probably reset the boss trying. So yet another tactic that probably won't work in pugs. That if you wanted to do, you'd need a damage dealer to do it, to acquiesce, to go over there and get it. And then I don't know what he uses, just heroic throw or something, a ranged ability. And then I gripped it. Maybe that's why he wanted the grip, because he taunted it and it was going to kill him if he didn't get a grip. I don't know. But he was like, all right, just be ready to grip. And I was like, oh no, there's 4 snakes out. He goes, okay, I'm getting it. I'm like, what? No, there's 4 snakes. It's a bad thing. So yeah, ultimately that's that. So anyway, the rest of this isn't really anything special. We just go through this trash pretty slowly, but let's talk a little bit more about the trash that's coming up here. So this is apparently where we wanted to deviate from what I normally do. At this point, we wanted to shroud past all of this, which I didn't expect. Shroud past all of this and go fight that pack. Hopefully you can see it. Fight that pack, and maybe even with the 4th. I'm not exactly sure what the thought process was. This is the first time this thought ever crossed my mind. Like I didn't even think that, like, having to use CDs on the trash would complicate the boss in such a way. But I could totally understand why it does, because when I've played healer, it has in the past. So anyway, the goal was to skip all of this with Shroud, I guess, and then come back and do it like while we were waiting for the boss to spawn and while CDs were returning. So it's not, I don't know, like I don't feel like these well, I died again to threat, but I don't really feel like these mobs are that dangerous, honestly. They do a lot of damage, and it's all magic damage, so it looks dangerous. But I think a lot of people, like you see, I think a lot of people get hit by that. Like, it's harder to get out of than people realize, and I get hit by it there too, I think. So but I think like if you just move around the mob a lot, you won't ever get hit by it, right? Like it doesn't track you. So it's just about moving fast enough. But I think it does do some damage, even if you don't actually stand under it, because people are still taking damage. It's still a fair amount of healing, right? No matter what. Especially on a fortified week. If it was Grievous or something like that, it'd be really bad. So I can totally understand the idea of pulling a bunch and then using big CDs here. In fact, that's probably maybe what the play was, to just get as many as possible and then just kind of use everything besides Lust and then go to Galvats. But that's not what we did. It's what we wanted to do. That's not what we did. So instead, I'm just going to take it slow, and then we're going to wait for CDs. So let's go ahead and skip ahead to Galvats here because we're waiting for CDs. Okay, so now this fight is interesting. I wish I had the 19s footage to show you because it gets a lot. This is actually like the refined version of Galvats. So I actually pre-pot and fuck my own pre-pot. Walk too close to the boss because I'm like nervous. I'm like actually nervous. I'm like, oh my god, we might not be able to kill this. What happens? I really wanted to get this 21 done. So all the time, like, we're talking about who should soak, right? And I don't know. I feel like I should soak. I feel like as a tank, like this is the person who should be soaking. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe on like a 21, that's not true. Maybe on a key like this, it's the opposite. The tank is already getting hit hard. So it's like you have to make sure that the other players are the ones soaking so the damage is spread. But for me, I have AMS, right? Like, so I could take one and not even take damage from it. Like, literally the whole channel, I won't even take stacks or damage. So that was my thought process, but I'm not going to end up soaking a lot here. But it's still going to get really bad. So I mean, let's have a no, not to like pick on Sarah or anything like that, but let's have like a comprehensive look at what this fight looks like from the healer's perspective, because I'm still a little bit surprised by how it goes, honestly. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. All right, so ready? Like, I feel like there's mana being used. I don't know exactly what does and doesn't use mana, but like, I feel like being at like, 5 to 6% down already. I'm not really sure where that mana is going. But really, it's just like a race against the clock, one way or the other. This fight is extremely healing intensive. I mean, you're going to see it on my screen, on my chart too. Like, I actually do 100k HPS. That is the most HPS I have ever done on a boss fight. On a boss fight in a Mythic Plus. I can't imagine how I've ever done more than that. But yeah, so you're seeing just watching the blue bar, the mana bar that is, it's going down really quick, right? Like, I mean, using a lot of mana here. Everybody's like relatively healthy, so that's good. But yeah, it's getting low really quick. And I mean, like my perspective, I'm still getting my ass kicked. Like 100k HPS. I don't know what exactly is healing for all these things. I guess it's just Death Strike over and over again. It doesn't feel like it's not that kind of fight where I'm like, oh my god, I got this really big Death Strike and that's gonna do like 500k HPS in one global, right? That doesn't really exist in this fight. It's just constant damage. Probably just constant. Actually, it might be Azerite Veins. I just realized Azerite Veins just expired. Holy shit. That is a rare thing to see nowadays, man. Azerite Veins expired. So, yeah, I wish I could look back at this and see how much healing these different things did. Because, so there you go. Basically out of mana at this point. 30% health, probably about 5% mana. I don't know how she's even still healing. Guess things can be relatively. So there's the link. I think we were banking on the link. Like the play was to go out of mana and then rely on link. But yeah, now like legitimately 0 mana, right? So this is getting really squirrely. I'm starting to panic. Fucked up the pre-pot, so I don't even have a second pot. Vamp Blood's up. Thank God. They really saved by the bell there, right? If it wasn't for Red Thirst, I wipe here. For sure, I die. I would have definitely died there without Vamp Blood, right? But yeah, we kind of just squeak by. Somehow Seismical is mad healthy, but everybody else is not mad healthy. And we kind of just squeak by. And that is unfortified. So that should put it in perspective. You've seen me do this dungeon a lot. 107k HPS. Oh, there it is. There it is. I show it on the screen. Thank God I had the forethought. Dude, 772k healing from Azerite Veins. That is carrying, honestly. That freaking single Azerite trait did 772k. It did more than the essence, it did more than the ring, and it almost did more than the trinket. So that was maybe just luck, I don't know. But that's what the chart looks like. Resounding Protection didn't do a lot. That's kind of surprising. But yeah, that's 107k healing. In fact, Seismical, I think it was him. Somebody's like, man, how much HPS was that? And I was like, oh yeah, 107k. Oh, maybe you're talking about Sarah, huh? That's a joke because it's like, dude, what the fuck? How much healing? That's 107k HPS on a boss, guys. I got to go back to that one more time. That is hard to believe. First of all, it's hard to believe that I survived that much healing needed. Death Strike did 5 million healing. That is kind of nuts. Okay, but anyway, let's continue. So nothing really going on here. I think a couple more mistakes made, but some things are coming up that are interesting. But yeah, this is tough without Twilight Devastation and Anima's on CD here, so pretty rough when you got pretty rough when you got limited AoE damage. I don't have Bone Storm. I don't have Twilight Devastation yet, as you see. Seismo's getting auto attacks in, but looks like we got him either killed or off him, but he does end up dying. Looks like he died to the fear? Because the mobs were dead. I'm not really sure what he died to. I guess he had the bleed still. So there's 2 stacks of the bleed. Let's see what happens. 2 stacks of the bleed. Looks like he's still... I think it was this one that was auto-attacking him. It's on me now, as you can see. They're all on me now. But he's got the fear. The fear does damage, too. Is this right? He got hit by something that just walloped him. Trying to understand this a little better. So 56%, yeah, from 60% to 2%, almost dies there. Maybe it's corruption. I don't know. He gets hit by something extremely hard, and I don't think it's the mob because it does look like the mob is attacking me. But it is 3 stacks of bolster, so maybe I'm wrong. And then he just kind of dies. I guess it's the fear. The fear does damage, right? Does he still have the bleed on him at this point? No, the bleed is off. So here's the fear. Chunk here, boom. Somehow doesn't die. I don't know how even. It's crazy to think. And then just falls over there. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what that is. Maybe you guys know more. But anyway, we're going to drag this here. Now, I've been doing this new strategy here where I've been taking him all the way to the wall here. I quite like it. It's just a little bit more comfortable. It's easier to get these mobs without aggroing the warden. What are the names of them? I don't know. The elites, right? It's easier to get these non-elites because there's like literally 3 packs right next to you. As soon as you come out, there's like trash all over the place. So you basically come out on top of 4 packs. Get that out of the way. If you can get that out of the way, then it's much easier to clear a path to where you're going. And then I've been kind of going back to the obelisk at this point because there's a bunch of the elites, whatever they're called. I can't even remember. There's a bunch of the elites here. So I've kind of just been going back in this general direction here and getting those out of the way. Now with bolstering, it's not the best play, but I do think like getting a lot of mobs here is perfectly like, other than Necrotic Week, it's not dangerous whatsoever. This is the play. Like to just if you can get 100% of the trash in this room, that would be the play. So, yeah, that's good. We're just going to go ahead and AoE it down. Pad Rogue is doing really good, which is nice to see that. Oh, Sarah got the thing kicked out of her hand somehow. I don't know how that. There's the Guardian. Orb Guardian, that's the name of the mob. So, just going to keep attacking it. But yeah, I quite like this strategy here where you kind of go. See, this middle part is more complicated than it looks. See, so here you go. There's a bunch of mobs here, whatever the wardens. Why do I keep calling them that? That's not the name of them. They're called Guardians. The Guardians. See, there's like 2 sitting here. Now watch this. This is really funny. I mentioned this when we were live. Look at this. What is going on here? I got to show this again. See the mark, the green mark, okay? That is from the previous pack. See, it's there. I mentioned this when we were doing this. It's this one, actually. Look at this. What the hell is he doing? He's literally like running away from me. I've never seen that. Seismical said it was because he was chasing somebody with the orb, but I don't think anybody even had the orb at this point, did they? It's that one there. Look at him. What's he doing? He's like, what's over there? What? Hold on. What's over there? I have no idea. That was bizarre. But anyway, this is kind of a problem because of bolstering. The small stuff will not bolster. And the big stuff, I don't think it will bolster the small stuff. Maybe. But it's going to bolster each other. And again, Solandra somehow gets right, even though... I mean, I think I'm doing pretty good damage at this point, right? Like, what? It's just a single target. It's like classic all over again. Classic prop pally. Could be top damage on the pack, and some idiot still pulls, not calling Solandra an idiot, but some guy still manages to pull threat on a single mob and then blames me as the tank. It's like, dude, I'm top damage on the pack. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, but yeah, that's different. So, hey, you know what? We cleaned that out, no problem. Obviously, countdown is past. The timer is over, so we failed miserably the timer, but it's fun. We're still gonna get a 21 done. And then again, same problem here. We got the conscript and then a guardian, a single guardian, big pack with 1 target. I feel like this is a problem in pugs a lot more than you would expect it to be. People don't realize that the guardian should be your auto attack target, and I think a lot of people don't realize how much damage we do with auto attacks. Next time you do a Mythic Plus dungeon, not a raid. It's even worse than raid. Mythic Plus dungeon. Look at how much of your damage, your overall damage, was auto attacks. Then think, if you were attacking the wrong target every possible avenue, how much damage lost that is. You're still auto attacking something, right? Like you have to attack something. But to be auto attacking the wrong thing is just such a big mistake. And this is like basically like a BFA change. So I think a lot of people still aren't used to it, honestly. In Legion, your auto attack was like, it was pretty low down there. And then in the BFA pre-patch, auto attack was like our top damage. When we were doing ABT, Mythic Reclears and shit, literally our melee DPS top damage was auto attack. Like by a mile. It was like 50% of their damage. And then it's balanced out over the course of the expansion. But I think people still aren't used to that, honestly. So anyway, we're going to go in the spider here. Nothing really happening at this point. Pretty standard stuff. But yeah, we go in here and what happened there? Let's see. Seismical gets hit by something. I was a little bit worried because there's a patrol coming, but it didn't cause the problem. Guess he probably just gets threat. On a couple spiders, yeah, a couple spiders getting threat. So it's like, skittish is definitely dangerous. And even though I feel like, am I gonna let this hit something? So it's kind of tough to use the mob weapon too, because you have to be in range of the mob. So it's a little bit tough for kiting weeks. Like I was gonna use it for the necrotic week here that we have right as I'm recording this, but it's just tough. Like if you're out of range of it, it's gonna do a lot less damage. So I think Twilight's just better because the faster you kill the pack, the less kiting you need to do anyway, right? But yeah. Now, I think it was Tokes or somebody was talking about snapping this mob. I don't know if it was in this key or in the previous one, but apparently, let's pause it right there. Apparently, if you stand on these pots, snap, snap, snap. And I don't know if that's true or not. I didn't actually test it because I didn't understand what he was talking about. It might be this run. Yeah, it's got to be this run. I thought it was this. I guess see you later. I thought it was this this little tray of like candles or whatever. I thought it was this tray of candles there, but I guess not. What's going on here? Why are people dying? I'm really confused. What even happened there? What killed Seismical, first of all? I can't really tell. Oh, the rupture? Wait, does he die to the rupture? Come on, are you kidding me? I thought it was like, what did I do wrong? Let's try to see. Oh, he's already dead. What am I looking at? He's already dead. It has to be the rupture, right? I can't see his character. I don't even know where it is. He's back. He's like real far. He probably. I've had this happen before where you're like running through the rupture. I literally couldn't even see his character, so he must have been hit by the rupture. But anyway, I've had it before where like you're running. Oh yeah, the mob is targeting Solandra. That's what happens to him. He's gonna get auto attacked again. Oh well, Skittish is supposed to be a free affix, but didn't work out this one. But anyway, I've had it happen where you're like running through the big green circle, right? You're on like the south end and you need to get to the north end, and you've like committed to running in that direction when it starts, and you won't get through it. Like the only way you survive is to go back to the south end, right? But that's not always an option because you're just not used to turning your camera that, like, you know what I mean? So anyway, that's pretty much it, right? Let's take a look at the last boss. Nothing really crazy here. I think again the mana, maybe mana problems. But this is a pretty long fight, and something that does need to get brought up at the end. Bolstering at the end here is actually pretty important. So, yeah. So when we did this, 19, Sizingwell was on as a mage, right? And this was actually something I was talking about a little bit on the live stream the other day. He was like, "Oh, if you bring the Hexer, wait, what are we? Oh, we're still fighting trash. I'm an idiot. Anyway, he was like, if you bring the main mob to the other packs, we could spread ignite, right? So it's like, okay, that's a great idea. That's just a good idea always, right? So that's like one of those things that like as a fire mage, it's like a tank with the fire mage in the group. You can just do that without needing any input. Like you know he used combust. You can look at the damage chart. You can look at his character. He's on fire. So yeah, you can just kind of run this guardian to all of the mobs. I guess it'll work that way. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but as you see, I mean, we're getting hit really hard here. And again, I don't know exactly what is and isn't fortified. That was actually something that I think Sarah brought up on Galvats, that the pillars are fortified, like the damage they do. So I don't know exactly how that works, but yeah, either way, we have a pretty basic ending to this. But I think it was interesting. Like, I don't know, like it wasn't as interesting as maybe like the 14s that people run around and act like idiots in. But I think, the fact just to see a 21 and to see like, obviously this experiment, this gear experiment didn't really work out. My overall damage is going to be much weaker. Even though I'm telling you, this is good damage. It is not bad damage. It is just not good as Twilight Dev. But I felt very comfortable in my health pool. I never really felt like come on, I did 107k on a boss. That doesn't really have anything to do with the armor. That doesn't help, actually. That makes me do less HPS, right? Oh, and look at that. That is something else that's interesting. The freaking orb despawned. How long does this orb last? Somebody answer that question for me. If you're going to leave a comment and you know the answer to this question, make sure that's the comment you leave. We went to click it, gone. Too late. Took too long. So another problem that you don't really see. Maybe you only see it in keys that aren't going great or keys that are really high. But yeah, now we're going to take it real slow and steady, as you see. We got a little bit of a wait here. Oh, and something else that happens. I forgot about this. Solandra does something that's kind of funny here. Let's see if we can't make this aware. We can't make ourselves aware of this. Okay, so it's 68%. Let's see if we can even notice it. Yes, at this point, Solandra's thinking if he waits as long as possible and he land hands it, will it like overheal it? Will it like skip a phase? It's not going to do that, obviously, but I don't think he was thinking that either. I'm just saying like maybe that's the line of thought that's going through his head. Like, can he almost skip a phase if he land hands at the last second? So he does that, and it doesn't do anything. There's flash of light. So I don't know. He lay on hands and it only took it to 71%. I don't know. So he was like, and then in Discord, he's like, let's see, maybe we can even hear it. Let's see.
Dude, really quick. Oh. Wait, is there healing locked after? I tried to like overkill it with lay on hands, but I think I wasted it.
Yeah. So I don't actually know. I said something that I'm not even sure about. I won't say it again, but I don't actually know if that works that way. Does anybody actually know? He said he tried to overheal it with lay on hands and it didn't work. Hopefully you could hear that. I'm not sure if you could. But anyway, that's that. So that's pretty much the fight. Now we're going to have the trash. Let's do that. We'll show that because this is actually still important. There's still one last thing to realize here. And I think a lot of people probably wouldn't realize this in pugs too. Like you might learn this is actually pretty complicated in pugs. Because bolster is going to actually affect this boss. A lot of people probably didn't do this way in the entire expansion. Like you might only be doing this way for the first time this last few months. So you're going to see it here. When we get the trash, anything that's not part of the fight is going to bolster, right? So this is, yeah, okay. So we're getting the trash now. I believe, yeah, Tokes is running up there. He's going to sprint up there with stealth or whatever, and I'm just going to get these mobs. Now, this is another problem here. Getting them all together is kind of a pain because a lot of casters. I waste my grip on something that's not grippable, I think. I don't actually remember what I do. But at this point, I'm like, okay, listen, we got to kill a Hexer. Because when we did this on the 19, it bolstered the hell. We killed all 5 or whatever, 6 mobs, whatever it is. And then there was like 6 stacks of bolster on the 2 mobs. And I was actually freaking out. If you can see the footage of that, you'd be laughing. Because I'm like, yo, we might downgrade this. We had a minute and a half left. And I was like, holy shit, we just bolstered this mob 6 times. We might downgrade this. And I was like panicking and nobody else was even saying anything. I'm like, why is nobody else panicking? But then I remembered that we're doing like 100,000% more damage or something. I don't even know how much, but it's like it didn't really matter that we bolstered it 6 times. But either way, you don't want to do that, right? Like if you could avoid doing that. So the play is to just kill the 2 close hexers, right? Because it's still going to bolster each other. But then it doesn't bolster anything that it doesn't need to bolster, right? So like if you kill that hexer that's part of the encounter, it won't bolster the trash. You can still continue to cleave off that mob. So what we did, we just killed this one, but we actually killed the second one too. Now I don't know exactly how far bolsters like range is, but at worst you just kill the front 2 and kind of cleave on the trash while you're doing it, and then you just go finish it. But doing it this way slows the fight down, right? Like look, it's got a lot of health, even though it's not dangerous. It's got a lot of health, so that's it. That's a 21 over by 15 minutes, which is not great. About a 55-minute run, something like that, 50-some minute run. And it was a lot of fun, honestly. I have to say, yeah, it was a 15-minute run. So I haven't done a lot of like progression keys this season, but the few I've done have been really fun, and I still enjoy pugging a lot. But it was fun to get together with people who, you know, what was the most fun about it was the communication. I think like. That was the thing that I liked the most. It was like, oh, wow, keys are a lot different when you can actually talk about mistakes that are happening as they're happening. That's the big problem with pugs, right? You have to think in like a 4th dimension. You have to think like, okay, if this mistake happens, how are people going to react to it? They're going to leave, you know what I mean? Mostly. But, you know, I mean, like you have to think in that dimension, right? With this, like you don't have to think. You can just talk. But there you see the healing breakdown. 56 million healing. That is much healing, 55k overall. And I actually did 40k overall, which I mean, it doesn't look bad. That's about what I would do with Twilight Devastation. I'd do like 42k normally. But that is, of course, without, usually most dungeons don't have 1,000 AoE pad snakes, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is a nice little look at something that, yeah, I wouldn't normally have happen on the stream, I think. So it was fun. And there's the damage. As you see, Obsidian Destruction, pretty decent, right? Obviously, Twilight Devastation probably would do like 40 million damage. But yeah, either way. That's that. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. If you have any tips or tricks, anything that you guys think we missed and that we could learn from, let me know. First of all, what do you guys think about the land hands thing at the end? What do you think about the pulling the trash on the second boss thing? And what do you think about the Galvat situation from a healer perspective? How would you guys heal that on a 21? Especially considering it's fortified, it was really scary to me to think that, like, wow, we did lose this key because of bosses, right? So, thanks for watching.